Yeah. So welcome to the session. Very good afternoon to all of you. And we have 4 presenters in this session. So we'll begin with Ravinarayan Chakraborty, who is a professor in RI Bangalore. Then we'll follow it up with Anand Mahanan, who is a professor in FU. Then Muskan Malhotra, who is a research scholar in BUT. And Zinia Al-Bahar, who is a research scholar in Manu. So each presenter will have around 15 to 18 minutes, so that we have some time at the end to have a discussion.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we can start with you.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Athan. Good afternoon, everyone. And first of all, thank you for coming. Already, in spite of I'm having very short time for lunch, you're able to make it to our session. So thank you. And this is the title, From Mother Tongue Medium to English Only, that is English Medium, to Multilingual Classrooms, which is, I thought, inclusive kind of approach. So my talk will basically look at these 4 things. Mother tongue as a medium of instruction, and then switch over to English medium, and then we introduce bilingual instruction, and then moved on to multilingual pedagogy. Right. So the language policy in Karnataka has a long history. It's a history of struggles, conflicts, and different ideologies. So according to Mallikarjun, the language policy of the multilingual state of Karnataka for education, as it stands today, was not framed and implemented in a single stroke. It has evolved during the period from 1956 to 2020 through the process of conflict, understanding, adjudication, and adjustment of roles for various mother tongues as school languages. So it has evolved in several stages with the decisions taken by the bureaucracy, recommendations of various committees, and legislature and judicial interventions. So in the year 1994, government of Karnataka made a comprehensive policy related to language as a subject in the school education, and also about the medium of instruction in both government and private schools. And these policies are mainly related to private schools, unaided schools in Karnataka. The first one is, from 1st to 4th standards, the child's mother tongue will be the medium of instruction. It will be one among these: Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Marathi, Hindi, Urdu, or English. And the second point was, from 3rd standard, Kannada should be optional subject to non-Kannadigas. There is no examination in this language at the end of 3rd or 4th standard. And from the 5th standard, the student has to choose 2nd and 3rd languages. They can be one of the following. Again, the student who is not studying Kannada as first language has to study it as a second language. And from the 8th standard to 10th standard, in the secondary schools, 3 languages will be taught compulsorily. But then there are a few clauses. One is, this government order has certain clauses. One is, in all the government recognized schools from 1st to 4th standard, medium of instruction should be mother tongue or Kannada. From 1994 onwards. And students admitted from 1994-95 should be taught in mother tongue or Kannada, which is a state language. And changeover to English or any other language medium is permitted from 5th standard. Only the students whose mother tongue is English will be permitted to study in the existing recognized English medium schools from 1st to 4th standards. This was actually challenged by parents, by teacher associations, especially managements of private schools. They challenged this government order in the High Court of Karnataka, and this was referred to and adjudicated by the full bench of the High Court. The questions the bench answered were these: is right to choose a medium of instruction a fundamental right? Whether parents and children have the right to choose the medium of instruction? And third one is related to, again, minority languages. All right, and the full bench came out with this observation: right to education is a fundamental right. It flows from Article 21, right to life, free and compulsory primary education is guaranteed to all the children in the age group of 6 to 14, right? Right to education includes right to choose a medium of instruction. I think this is a very important judgment. So parents have the right to choose a medium of instruction. This is a fundamental right of the parent and the child. And right to freedom of speech and expression includes the right to choose a medium of instruction. The policy that mother tongue original language shall be the medium of instruction in primary schools is valid and legal for the schools run or aided by the state. We can apply this only to government schools or government funded schools, government aided schools. Right. So then in the year 2006, government introduced English as one of the subjects from grade 1 in all the Kannada medium schools and also in the schools of the linguistic minorities. Until then, English was taught as a subject from grade 5. So from 2006, 2007 it was implemented. Government introduced English as a subject from 2007 from first standard. And the High Court decision was challenged by the government of Karnataka. They went to the Supreme Court and the Constitution bench of the Supreme Court made the following observations. A child or on his behalf, his parent or guardian has a right to freedom of choice with regard to the medium of instruction. The Supreme Court upheld the High Court order. They said parents, children have the right to choose the medium of instruction. And then, so this judgment, according to Mallikarjun, it was published in one of the journals, he says this is a rebirth and revitalization of Macaulay's minutes of the meeting and all. In the morning also, we had a reference to this. And then the 21st century may go into another kind of self-inflicted linguistic colonization. He has observed this. And then, Macaulay's minutes, for example, it says, we have to educate a people who cannot at present be educated by means of their mother tongue. And then William Bentinck, morning again, there was a reference. The Governor General agreed with Macaulay's minute and said that all the funds be henceforth employed in imparting to the native population a knowledge of English literature and science through the medium of the English language. So in 2019, government introduced English as a medium of instruction in 1,400 government schools. Out of these 1,400 government schools, 1,000 schools were actually offering education in Kannada as a medium of instruction and 400 schools where Urdu was the medium of instruction. And then, so the justification given by the then Chief Minister was, this is again, I'm quoting the Chief Minister, it's a step that could meet the aspirations of thousands of people from weaker sections who wish to get their children educated in English. But again, there were huge debates when English was introduced as a medium of instruction in government schools. So, for example, this particular founder of one of the NGOs, she said that this is not a guarantor of good education. English medium doesn't mean quality education. We can provide great Kannada medium schools can also have good English language teaching, right? And those who opposed, they were concerned about the negative impact of English medium on children's abilities to understand contents and academic subjects and the negative impact on local languages and cultures. But then, government went ahead, introduced EMI, and 26,156 children were studying in 1,000 English medium sections in 2019-20. This is in Kannada medium where English was offered as medium, as opposed to 11,526 in Kannada medium. So nearly 250 schools had admissions, less than 10 in Kannada medium, and a few schools were closed. Right? But then there were lots of challenges. So one challenge was we visited many schools, interacted with children, teachers, and then this is what we found out. Oral repetitions, mass drilling, rote learning were common practices in most of these English medium schools. And teachers were not using L1 as a pedagogic resource. It was not used in the teaching learning process. But parents had huge expectations from these English medium schools. And the other challenges were students could write their names in English. When we asked them to come and write them, they could write it in English, but they were not able to do it in their own language. And they found it very difficult to do simple arithmetics. simple additions, subtractions, and words like near, far. They were not able to give the meanings of these words. Rote learning was very common. So English medium was affecting not only L2 learning but also their first language acquisition. So in 2020, next year, government extended this scheme and introduced English medium in another 1,000 schools. So English medium will stay, but the question is, how can we best support the system and handhold teachers? That was what was worrying us actually as teacher educators. And then Cook, 2010, he observed that the 20th century in language teaching was largely a monolingual period in which our learners' prior languages were at best ignored and at worst banished from the language classroom, at least in mainstream ELT discourse. So with this, we lost so much of their creativity, identities and social rights as individuals, not to mention the many hours we spent trying to explain, mime or elicit the impossible. I totally agree with this. So there is a shift in policy, and we came out with a report based on our studies. We came out with a report, submitted this to the government, and then there was a shift in policy. Government introduced all these English medium schools were converted into bilingual mediums. Textbooks were bilingual, as you can see on the right hand side. This is English Urdu textbook. Maths, environmental science textbooks were bilingual, and classroom teaching was also supposed to be bilingual. And this is the mathematics textbook, NCERT textbook, which is bilingual. You'll see this in English and Kannada. Similarly, for English medium in Urdu schools, it's English and Urdu. But then, so we had we were supposed to train teachers in our training program. We had one theme on bilingual approach, exploring languages for learning. So teachers were trained on introducing bilingual approach in their classrooms, and these were some of the objectives of the bilingual, the training sessions on bilingual approach. And then you will see how it was introduced in the classrooms. Teachers were writing meanings of new words and things in both the languages. However, observations from again school visits and interactions with stakeholders reveal that many classrooms were really multilingual, not just bilingual. So bilingual approach will not address a multilingual classroom. It is not an inclusive kind of approach, we thought, not really child-centered. And then we came up with another proposal to train teachers. It's very important to train them on multilingual pedagogy, we thought. We developed a handbook on multilingual approach, and we trained 270 teachers on a pilot basis. We selected 270 schools. These are called Karnataka public schools. Trained 270 teachers, one teacher in every school, on introducing multilingual pedagogy. The training was for 6 days. These were some of the topics we discussed in the 6-day training sessions. Yes, we also had activities in multilingual pedagogy from the NCERT textbook, demo lessons, team teaching, and multilingual approach we discussed in our training sessions can be introduced at any of the stages. In the beginning, for connecting the lesson to child's life, that is stage 1, stage 2, while transacting the content, and then for comprehension check during activities, right? Oral, written activities, and also multilingual approach can be used for assessment. So that's what we discussed in the training program. And so the classroom implementation was, it was happening actually, and then this had a positive impact, and students showed greater engagement and participation when their mother tongues were integrated into the classroom processes. So you will see they were asked to write in both the languages. Actually, first in mother tongue about my mother. First they wrote in mother tongue, then they took help and wrote it in English. So this was actually happening. So this multilingual approach, which is a kind of inclusive pedagogy, it has enhanced teachers' confidence. So many teachers reported an increase in confidence in teaching English after the training. Some of them were forced to teach in English medium, but now they've gained confidence to teach in English medium. And then learners, for example, many teachers noted a marked increase in student engagement and confidence following the implementation of multilingual pedagogy. So they are expressing themselves now, and there was children who were sitting silently are happy when they get the opportunity. At least they make efforts to stand up, read aloud, and then share their thoughts. So there is better participation in the classroom. And yeah, so students who were initially shy, they're expressing their ideas, and then slow learners particularly, they benefited from being able to understand lessons better when presented in their own languages. And this is what, see, when they're asked to write in their mother tongue, they write so much. If it is English only approach, they'll answer in just in a word or phrase, yes or no. For most of the comprehension questions will be yes or no. And writing, it is just 1 or 2 sentences. So this is what you will see, the richness of the writing, the kind of thoughts, feelings, right? And so while some students initially exhibit, gradual progress was observed in the classrooms, and then now they understand the concepts in meaningful manner. I'm just quoting teachers. My students were speaking to their friends in monosyllables initially, but are now showing marked improvement as they're slowly speaking in one-liners or single sentences in English. So you can really see progress in their learning of English, learning of content subjects, and they're getting opportunities for learning English. Again, quotes from teachers. Can you go to the next slide?
Yes.
Yeah. But then there are many challenges. One is lack of familiarity with students' mother tongues. Teachers are not familiar. If the child is speaking Urdu, teacher is not familiar with Urdu language. Similarly, Tamil or Telugu. Right? This is one of the challenges. And then time management, writing lesson plans, giving opportunities to individual children, and then conflict between traditional teaching methods and multilingual approach. So there is some conflict, and teachers' own limited proficiency in students' home languages, and parental misconceptions about multilingualism. So classroom management is also one of the challenges, right? When you have multilingual classrooms, grouping and then pair work, all these are causing some difficulties. So yes. So I think this is one of the decentering initiatives. I don't agree with what Mr. Mallikarjun said. Like, this is again, we are going back to the colonial kind of period, forcing everybody to learn English. I don't think so. I really feel that this is one of the decentering initiatives that we have taken up. And these are the references. Thank you.